go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening to the College Credit Plus meeting. Just for some general information, last year the College Credit Plus program was new, and as part of the state rules, we do have to ensure that students and their parents receive proper information about the program. That way you're aware of risks, potential risks, and some of the positives that can come out of taking college credit. Some of my colleagues who are here today to help with this, first of all, from Clark State, we have Justin McCullough. Justin, I'll just let you say a few things quick about yourself so I don't miss anything.
My job title is a student success student coordinator at the Clark State Bell Fountain campus. So I'm here with you guys in Logan County all the time. I'm up here at the Ohio High Point campus. I get to work with you guys throughout everything, whether it's come in for a quick visit, got a question about College Credit Plus, to advising, compass testing. If you guys don't want to take it here, we can take it up there. Just random questions about everything. How will these credits transfer to this institution or that institution? Or is there something I'm missing? I'm here for you guys to help you guys through everything, so you don't have to travel down to Springfield. That's a good thing about us being in your backyard right now.
And Justin's going to jump in and share some perspective from the college side of College Credit Plus as we go through the PowerPoint presentation today. Also, I just want to make sure that I recognize all of our teachers here at Bell Fountain High School who take a ton of time not only to be credentialed as adjunct faculties with our respective college institutions, but they have to do not just course creation and curriculum for meeting high school standards, but they also have to meet the rigor and standards of the college curriculum that they're teaching. So we do have Mr. Sean Miller with us this evening. He is one of our engineering tech department teachers who is involved with the College Credit Plus program as well. So really, I hope you all extend your gratitude and your utmost respect for our College Credit Plus teachers. Not that our other teachers don't need that same respect, but really they are going, in addition to what they are required to do for no additional compensation. Their compensation is knowing we are giving students an excellent opportunity to get free college credit for the most part. So thank you, Sean, and thank you to our other teachers. I don't have them listed by name, but you can, just talk to people or me if you're interested in who teaches these classes in the handout that you picked up. Before I talk about College Credit Plus, I do want to go into a couple other programs that offer students the opportunity to earn college credit. I think it also helps distinguish the difference a little bit between these programs and College Credit Plus. Advanced Placement Courses is a long-standing program that allows students the opportunity to earn college credit as long as they receive a certain score on a course exam. Usually in May, they take that course exam. They are required to take that exam if they sign up for the AP course. There is a cost for students to take that course. It's the equivalent of what a first-year college student would take. So if they're taking an English class, an AP English class, it would be like their first freshman year of college English class. The teachers have to be trained through the College Board, which is the same company that does the SAT, if you're familiar with that. And they do have to have typically a score of 3, 4, or 5 on that exam in order for a college institution to accept that credit. Each college institution has their own discretion if they want to accept that AP course. And essentially it'll translate into whatever that college assigns that course match to be. So for example, at Clark State, if students take our AP English language, if you look at this sheet, it would translate at Clark State to this English 1 CCP class, which is English 1111 at Clark State. So each college has a grid that matches up AP classes with college credit classes. So students, when they graduate, they have essentially a transcript, if you will, or a course listing with scores from the College Board that they then forward to the respective institution they're applying to or committed to attending for their degree. And then that college will offer them credit on their college transcript for the equivalent course. Most colleges in the United States nationally recognize AP classes. Students who are looking at selective school or very competitive schools, colleges, might want to consider AP over CCP or in addition to CCP classes. The current cost, I think, is $91. I saw Mrs. Horvath in here, who is our advanced placement coordinator. Has that changed? $92 for next year. That's probably breaking news, I don't know. And students on free or reduced lunch can get a fee waiver. There is a grade-way add-on of .0325. Actually, that's a typo. It should be .03125. That's added to their cumulative grade point average. So we still go on a 4.0 scale here. It's not based on grades, the weight, it's just added, that .03125 is added to their cumulative grade point average. That number is calculated based on the difference between an A and an A minus, an A minus to a B plus. So it's that GPA weight difference is how that's calculated, or how that's determined. The AP courses we're currently planning to offer next year, and all of this information is tentative for next year. Everything depends on, how many students we have request courses, what teacher availability is for courses, but we do have 8 that will be offered next year. All of these courses, students will have to take the AP exam if they sign up for it. There is a parent permission form that Mrs. Horvath has that we give to students that parents sign off saying you understand that the student will have to take this exam and that there is a cost. There are a few classes that in the past have been AP courses that because of the College Credit Plus rule, we've had to change to College Credit Plus only courses. College Credit Plus says we cannot offer a combined AP College Credit Plus course any longer. So we have opted to just have them as College Credit Plus courses. They're no longer going to be called AP Calculus AB, for example. However, we are going to allow students the option in these classes, so AP Calculus AB in the past, that's what it was called, now called Calculus 1 CCP. Students can opt to take that exam in May for AP and still get that AP score to transfer into colleges if they so choose. If you have questions about that, Mrs. Horvath is a good person to talk with, or talk with your guidance counselor and we can give you more information about that. So AP Calculus BC is now called Calculus 2 CCP, and then AP Chemistry is now called General Chemistry 2. I didn't get that one on the slide either. The second way students can earn college credit is through the Ohio College Tech Prep Program. This is a program mostly offered through Ohio High Point programs. It's not transcripted college credit, it's called articulated credit. And basically what that means is High Point is working with one institution. That credit will only be awarded if the student attends that institution after they graduate. So let's say Ohio High Point, through their welding program, has an agreement with Clark State. As long as the student then enrolls at Clark State after graduation, they will be awarded those credits. It's not transcripted and it's not guaranteed if they would go to another institution. We are also at Bell Fountain working on a couple of programs, but they will be ran through the Ohio High Point program. So if students take any of the courses in the manufacturing technologies or the engineering and science technologies pathway, which is the Project Lead the Way pathway, students might get some paperwork that says Ohio High Point on it, and that's just because we're running those programs jointly, even though they're housed at Bell Fountain and it's all Bell Fountain students. So those are some opportunities we have. And I'm going to let Justin talk a little bit about articulation and High Point and Clark State and what they're doing.
So up here, you'll see most of these programs that are at High Point. I would say most of those, if not all of them, are articulated, tech prep, agreed between Ohio High Point and Clark State. We actually have a meeting coming up next Thursday, and we're going to look at adding more to this. Welding's one of them. So we're looking at trying to get these students into the the track, the recruiting track of taking a year or 2 years here, 2 years at Ohio High Point, and then going into Clark State. Again, like what Angie was stating, these tech prep credits are only good at that institution. For instance, diesel tech is a huge one up there at High Point, along with engineering and health. So health, if a student would go into there, they would get their STNA, medical terminology, and also phlebotomy. So those students that are going to any kind of allied health with Clark State, they would have those, at least those 3 classes that would come into Clark State and go towards their degree. Now, if they decide, I want to go to Rhodes, or I want to go to Ohio State or something like that, those credits do not go with them. So that's the difference between Tech Prep, AP, and the College Credit Plus. The College Credit Plus starts a transcript and goes somewhere. The Tech Prep stays at that institution. Now, Ohio High Point also has a couple other schools that they have programs with. So once you get up there, you just want to double check to make sure that what program they're affiliated with.
Okay, so now College Credit Plus. As I mentioned, it was new last year, and it did combine the old post-secondary enrollment options program and dual enrollment. So if you've had students in the past participate in either of those programs, you're somewhat familiar with College Credit Plus. It's just merged those together. And as we've emphasized, it's transcripted credit, which is different from AP and Tech Prep. The 3 components of College Credit Plus, students can earn college credit and high school credit through teachers at Bell Fountain High School. Now, this was the dual enrollment program that we used to call a couple years ago. And as I alluded, all these teachers are credentialed as adjunct faculty at a respective partner institution. So you can see which classes we have credentialed teachers teaching at Clark State on the busy side of this sheet, and on the less busy side sheet, you can see the courses we have partnerships with Urbana University on. There's just 3 of those. So just to ensure you're aware, our adjunct faculty who are teaching here have the exact same requirements as adjunct faculty do on that respective college campus. Additionally, they have to teach the same course syllabus, use the same textbook. It is the exact same course that the student would take if they were going to the campus and taking it with a college campus instructor. Having said that, you can understand that the amount of rigor, the level of difficulty, the amount of work expected of the student is going to be at the same level too. When I was in college, they always said for every hour of class time, expect 2 to 3 hours of work with reading, homework, writing, all of that type of thing. So we want to make sure students have an adequate idea of how much work being in 1 or more of these classes is going to take. I think it's important too to make sure you're remembering these are kids, and we want to make sure that they're able to enjoy high school and not be too bombarded with a heavy workload. The second option is college faculty teaching courses here. We currently do not have any of these types of courses arranged. And the third option is where students can take an online class with a college faculty or classes at that institution with a college faculty. We always have a handful of students that do this option as well each year. So College Credit Plus is open to students in grades 7 through 12. This is new with College Credit Plus. In years past, it was, especially with dual enrollment, students could just earn it in high school. We want to make sure students are college ready. So we don't want students to jump into college class when they're not prepared academically, when they're not mature enough to handle the content and the responsibility. There's a lot of discussion right now about the FERPA law and college professors not being able to talk with parents without student permission. So high school students, what we're getting from legal opinions, technically cannot, they have to give the college and the professors the right to talk to parents. So when I say maturity, that's what we're talking about, students being able to manage their education on their own, and we want to make sure they have that level of maturity as well. Students are able to take any courses as long as they meet the college standards of college readiness for those courses. And every institution is going to determine what it requires for students to be accepted into their program and what it is required for students to be placed in certain courses. So there is some placement testing involved, and the expectations for those things, for admissions and course placement, have to be the same for a student who's a high school graduate as well as a student who's in college, or in high school, excuse me. So graduates and high school students, same expectation. Some private schools do require a fee. Public schools are free through the College Credit Plus program. Now, private colleges, I mentioned Urbana University, they're one of our partners. They are a private school. In the past, we have had to charge with Urbana. This year, they had an agreement with us that we didn't have to charge students. I cannot guarantee that for next year for Urbana. I wouldn't let that keep you from signing up with the intention today, but there could be a small fee for the Urbana classes. And I hope to know better by the end of this year when we have our agreement in place with Urbana. Again, students can choose any course that they want to as long as they meet the institution's requirements. These can include online courses. A lot of colleges will post these online, so usually about April is when you can go to a college's website and look through their catalog of courses they'll offer on their campus or courses that will be available online. And again, you'll just have to make sure students meet the requirements and the prerequisites to take any of those courses. So how do students apply? This is the first step. Attending the advising session is required. Students then have to complete this intention form, and you'll notice this year it looks different if you've done one in the past. We now have our board policy for the new program. So on one side, you have the letter of intent to participate in College Credit Plus. You'll want to make sure the student's grade level for next year is the grade level that you use. And we do need both student and parent signature. The back side is the statement of responsibility that basically says you participated in this meeting and you understand the potential risks. So I would be more than happy to collect these today as you leave. The letter of intention is not a commitment to participate in the program or in any specific classes. We do have to have this intention form prior to April 1st in order for students to participate in College Credit Plus next year. This is an annual form, so students who participated last year, I still need a new form for you for this year. These do go in the student's cumulative file here at the district. The next step is students have to apply to the college. And what I plan to do is in May, any student who has signed up for a College Credit Plus course, they'll get a letter from me saying here is another meeting the student has to come to do an application if that's necessary, or to do placement testing. And that's for courses that we offer here at the school, the ones on this sheet. Students who are doing an online or off-campus course will, if they have not applied to that school in the past year, will have to do an application. Even if they're just doing classes here, they would have to do another application. For example, Clark State has an application for students who are doing College Credit Plus at Bellefontaine, and then if they want to do the College Credit Plus off campus, they would have to do another application. And that's because the registration process is different for those courses. I handle registration for classes here. Clark State Justin actually will handle registration for online or off-campus classes with Clark State, or the respective institution, Rhodes or Urbana, wherever the student might go. So at that time too, I'll have students do any computer-based testing, placement testing that's required, and that's what the institution would do at their orientation as well. So most placement testing includes like an ACT or an SAT score. If students haven't yet taken that, there is a placement test that we would use to assess their college readiness. And there are scores students have to reach or exceed in order to take that course. Now, in the past, we've used a prerequisite exception form. That is not going to be as likely in years to come. So it's going to be really important that students show that they're college ready. We've talked a lot about the Ohio Means Jobs website. There's a K-12 portal on that. It's the cardinal with the little graduation cap on his head. If you click that and go to the assessment center, there are practice placement tests, college placement tests in there, including an ACT and an SAT. So know that that resource is there if students want to kind of gauge their readiness before they do any of that testing. Actual registration does not happen until the course starts in the fall, or if it's a spring semester class when they start in January. If it's a year-long class, that registration is a spring semester class, so that official registration will happen in January. I'm going to let Justin add anything he might have about the application process.
So I was talking to Angie this year. We've changed our application process around to where you apply. If you are a returning student, the good thing is you don't have to reapply. We're going to treat you just like a college student. So if you took classes online or through Clark State or here, if you're going to take the exact same classes, that style or that type, all you have to do is get with an advisor, get with your guidance counselor, and you can go ahead and get registered that way. Admissions is going to be different from each institution. Ours is pretty simple, and it's very easy to get to. clarkstate.edu, top left, admissions, financial aid. Go ahead and fill out the application. Within 3 days, you'll be accepted. You will then need to set up a time to take the Compass test, or placement test, I should say that, because Compass is going away here in a couple months. And then we can start looking at and seeing if you meet the requirements and all that, and see what classes you want to meet. And I don't know if everybody's had a chance to grab the like pathways, or if you have a question about a pathway, hey, I want to go into healthcare or something like that, we can create a pathway for you that would be easy to take classes that would transfer in that area to help you guys out to decide, well, what classes do I need to take? So the good thing is Clark State's willing to work with you through the admissions process, the application process, advising and all that. We like to be hands-on with you guys so you make sure that you guys are making the right choices.
So in the past with the old dual enrollment program, there was a GPA requirement. None of that stands any longer. The only barrier to students taking classes is making sure they meet that college readiness benchmark through whatever that institution determines. Most schools, as I mentioned, it's an ACT, SAT, or a placement test. So there are some minimums that students have to stay within in College Credit Plus. Students cannot have more than 30 semester hours per year of college credit or 120 credits while in high school. How things convert from high school transcript to college transcript. This has changed quite a bit actually since the old dual enrollment program. If a student is in a 3 or more semester hour college class, that has to equal 1 credit of high school credit. So keep that in mind. Students will be earning a little bit more. In the past, that was a half credit for a 3 semester hour class. So students have to keep in mind, if they're doing College Credit Plus, especially full-time, that they still have to meet high school full-time status and athletic eligibility. So what that basically means is they have to have 5 high school credit courses. Now, block classes here always count as 2, and skinny classes each semester count as 1. College credit classes all count as 2 as well, because they're essentially the equivalent of a block class here. So what that means is if you're doing College Credit Plus full-time, students would need at least 3 semester hour classes each semester, or each semester 1 and semester 2. That would be minimum. And then the maximum would just be not to exceed the 30 semester hours. Students do have the option to do a mix. They could take some classes here, some classes online, some classes at a college campus. It doesn't even have to be the same college campus, but we have to keep in mind that they have to be able to balance their schedule, that oftentimes colleges and high schools do not have the same calendar. Spring breaks are different, start dates, end dates are different. So students have to really make sure they're balancing that all out. And it is also important to make sure you realize that, you know, the amount of resources that we as a guidance department can provide to students and parents, and researching all of this is very minimal. It is the student and parents' responsibility to investigate options, that type of thing. Consult with us to make sure graduation requirements are met. We're more than happy to do that. Help point you in the right direction, but it is the responsibility of the student and parent to look into all of those options. Again, I've mentioned that there's no cost for students participating in CCP at a public school, including books and fees. However, students attending a private college may have to pay books and fees as well as a small cost. Additionally, students who are commuting to a school, we cannot reimburse for transportation costs, parking costs, if those apply. So transferability, this is where sending one transcript, you know, the transcript from Clark State or Urbana to the respective college the student wants to attend when they graduate and earn a degree from. All students have to do is send that transcript, request that transcript be sent at the end of their senior year to that institution, and then they will decide how those credits will be applied towards their degree. Now, as I'm working with seniors every year, this is a question that I think is becoming more common as they're investigating schools. How will my credits be transferred in? How will they be applied towards my degree, or a couple different degrees, so that they can make that decision on which college maybe is going to give them the most transfer credits, and which degree maybe might be the best one to pursue. So it does provide a lot of opportunity. I can say we're seeing a wide range of things as far as what colleges will take what classes and how they will be applied towards degrees. So really it's at the student and parents, it's their responsibility, it's your responsibility to make sure you're asking about those things and not just assuming everything's going to transfer. Public schools, there is the University System of Ohio. There are these tag courses that are guaranteed transfer. So there are a listing of those. Most of our classes we offer are tag courses, our English, our math classes. Most of those general education core classes are guaranteed to transfer to any Ohio public school. Ohio private schools, they're hit or miss. You just have to ask. Out-of-state schools, they're not going to know what College Credit Plus means because that's an Ohio program. So your best bet with out-of-state schools is to say, I've earned college credit at Clark State, here are the courses, how will they transfer? If you ask them if they'll take College Credit Plus courses, they're probably going to say no because they don't know what that is. Do you want to add anything? Okay. Our courses on our list here, you have these handouts. I want to just make a few notes to students and parents. We have been calling courses by our high school titles. College Credit Plus now requires that we have to call the courses by the same name the college institution calls them, so that the name on your transcript, the student's transcript, shows that same name as what is on the college transcript. So in the past, we've had the English college writing course, and this is probably the biggest difference next year. The English college writing class 2 years ago consisted of the English 1 and the English 2 CCP classes. This year, we added a third class, the Intro to Lit, to that. That's 3 classes in a year-long 40-minute class. What we realized is that's a lot to ask of students. And I think our students this year would agree. So what we're planning to do next year is offer the 4 courses. We're adding American Lit, so there's English 1 and English 2, and then Intro to Lit and American Lit. What we're encouraging students to do is think about how they can align a composition class, which would be the English 1 or the English 2, and a literature class, Intro to Lit or American Lit. So they take a composition class paired up with a literature class. And theoretically, we'd like to see those either as a year-long skinny, those 2 classes, or they might have to stack up as a block class. We're not sure how that's going to work out on the schedule yet, but we would like students to figure out which comp class and which lit class would be their next step based on the prereqs listed in our course handbook. and go from there. And the complicated piece in this is how an AP class might impact that. And I'm not going to go into those details. Students can consult with the guidance department, Mrs. Horvath and Gifted, or their English teacher to get a better grasp on how they should do that. College Algebra is new. That's the equivalent of our Honors Algebra 2 course. So we are not encouraging students who've had Algebra 2 or Honors Algebra 2 to take that class. I talked about the AP difference with the calculus, but there is a calculus 1 that's year-long, that's less theoretical, and then there's calculus that's fall semester, calculus 1, and spring semester calculus 2. So students in their senior year can get both of those calculus classes in. That's going to be a much more theory-based class. So typically, like our engineer students, that's the one that we focus on for them. Honors Biology is now Fundamentals of Biology. Honors Chemistry is General Chemistry 1. AP Chemistry is now General Chemistry 2. We have Physics 1, Physics 2. The foreign language can be slightly confusing. The college calls Spanish 3 Spanish 1. So it's now Spanish 1, and then Spanish 4 is Spanish 2. So the easy way to know is the number 1 would be the first level, the number 2 is the second level, Roman numeral is the third level, Roman numeral 1, and then Roman numeral number 2 is Spanish 3, or 4, excuse me. See, I can't even keep it straight. But we do understand it, so if you have questions, just let us know. The Engineering Design Solid Modeling was called Intro to Engineering Design. That's the course Mr. Miller teaches that was here. And is that Mrs. Rickner back there? So she teaches the next 2 courses. The first one listed is Marketing 1. These were added this year, and she has gone through extensive lengths to make sure everything is at college level caliber, and we're meeting all the loops and jumps that they make us go through to get those approved. So that first Marketing 1 class, students can get 5 semester hours for that, and the second one is Marketing 2, students can get 6 semester hours for the promotion and IMC strategies and principles of management. The Urbana classes, we've taught psychology for years, that continues, and then the foreign language studies is the French level 3 and level 4, and it has a confusing name as well. If you have questions about those, just let me know. I'm not going to tackle any right now because I think it can get confusing. I put my disclaimer here. All these courses are subject to change as we have to every year renew our course requirements with the institution. So we'll be doing that in the spring, and there's always, the possibility that something might change. Students who are taking a college course, either online or at a college campus, need to make sure that they're also meeting those requirements, as I said a couple of times. I think we've covered everything on this slide, but is there anything more you want to add, Justin?
Most institutions like us, you will be classified as a college student, so you'll have the access to the library, the bookstore, advising, all the online aspect. Anything on campus, you will have the access to that as a CC Plus student.
And I shared you cover expenses. College Credit Plus courses, just like the AP courses that I mentioned earlier, have that added grade weight as well, the .03125. That's new this year. It's going to be interesting to see how that impacts our top 10 and our valedictorian selection, because basically the more classes you take for college credit, the more grade weight add-ons you're going to have. Another big thing to remember is that students are responsible to ensure you're meeting with your counselor every year, and that the classes you're taking through College Credit Plus are being applied correctly towards high school graduation requirements. And we meet with students every year for scheduling anyway, so this is just typically part of our review, but there has to be good communication between the student and the counselor when they're participating, especially in online or off-campus classes, just to make sure those requirements are being met and to make sure that that we're getting those courses added to their transcript correctly. We have a new institution we're working with this year, and we had some miscommunication where that college actually gave students their schedule to give to the counselor. Well, that student didn't realize or remember they were supposed to do that, so then we don't have the courses listed here as courses they're taking, which is a problem. We want to have those listed first thing in the year. So it wasn't Clark State, because they send them to us, but every institution handles it differently. And so when I talk about maturity of students, that's one of the things I'm talking about. You know, some of these institutions really expect that students are taking care of things when they ask them to. And so, for example, this student was supposed to bring that course listing to us. They didn't, it didn't get on there, and then we had to kind of backtrack and get that all figured out. So these are some of the risks. Students who fail a class might have to reimburse the district for the costs that we have to pay for that class, including textbooks and fees. If students don't pay that by graduation time, they can still walk, they just won't be able to pick up their diploma until those fees are paid. Additionally, if a student were to withdraw after the no penalty date, they would have to pay for that fee as well. The no penalty date is typically about 14 days, after the course begins. Additionally, I want to make sure everybody realizes that by taking College Credit Plus, the student is starting their official college transcript. This has become more discussion in the last year as we meet with college admissions folks. They're saying that all of these transcripts where students are accumulating college credit while in high school have to be disclosed when they apply to a college for their degree. So senior year, the student says, I'm going to Bowling Green. Bowling Green now requires, as part of their process, that all of those transcripts that the student has participated and earned credit have to be sent to them. And if a student's thinking, oh, I got that C in psychology at Urbana, I don't want to send that, that's not an option. You have to send them all. In fact, Ohio State shared just this fall that they have rescinded acceptances for students that failed to disclose those transcripts. That's one of the things on the application they're signing off on. They're saying, you know, you're signing off saying I've disclosed all of my academic history while in college. They've also said that they have asked students to leave once they've started if they didn't disclose some of that. So it's very serious, the students starting their college record, and so we want to make sure that they're starting prepared academically and maturity-wise. College Credit Plus will not cover room and board. You can do night classes, but you just have to keep in mind that you're able to juggle everything and keep within that 30 semester hours per year rule. Activities through school are fine as long as they maintain athletic eligibility and can balance it around the courses that they're taking. And of course, that college institution has to let us know if a student drops a course. We're almost there, a few benefits. So this is a no-cost program at public schools. Private schools, students might incur a small cost. In the past, we, under the post-secondary enrollment option, students could go to a private college and take classes for free. That's different under College Credit Plus. Because it's a private school, there might be a fee. It just depends on the negotiated agreement between our district and that institution. So if students are looking to take classes at a private school, for example, please let us know soon, because that gives our district the opportunity to try to negotiate with that institution and see if we might be able to get a lower cost or maybe no cost option. I doubt a no cost option. I did have a student last year looking at Ohio Northern, and it was going to be a pretty big chunk of change, I think 160 per credit hour, and that was our negotiated rate with them. So definitely public schools are, I believe, are the way to go, but we can't rule out private school options. The Gradeway add-on, so this is more work, but students are rewarded with a little boost to their GPA. And then additionally, we all know that the more challenging coursework a student takes in high school, the more prepared they are for college, the better they're going to do in college. And their ACT scores are shown to be higher too when they take the challenging classwork. So another add-on that's a benefit that's not on this is most of the colleges now are awarding merit-based scholarships based on ACT and SAT scores. So taking this challenging work can lead to higher ACT scores and hopefully a little more financial reimbursement or financial merit awards to students when they're going to college. Just to summarize the risks, I think we've probably covered most of these, but I want to make sure everybody is clear. The GPA impact, or harder classes, you do get the grade weight add-on, but that same grade is going to be applied to the high school transcript, can affect class rank, that type of thing. Being able to balance everything can be hard. It seems like every year I have a couple seniors who say, oh, I'm going to drive to this campus and do all of my classes there. And then after they start to think about, how am I going to fit all of these sports practices in and this and that, it seems like they always come around to, oh, maybe I'll just do classes at Bell Fountain, or maybe a few online classes. Athletic eligibility, so students do have to maintain a 1.5 GPA or higher, so we just want to make sure that, poor grades don't impact that if students want to participate in sports. Traveling is always an issue. The calendars I mentioned earlier are always different, especially spring breaks. So just because you're on spring break here doesn't mean you'd be on spring break from the college class, especially if it's only if it's an off-campus or online class. Of course, classes we offer here have the same spring break. Those classes follow our calendar here at BHS. And I mentioned if you fail or withdraw from a course, students would have to reimburse the high school for the course that we pay for that class. Every student's going to be different with what you're trying to aspire towards. Justin and I have shared, we have a couple students every year that look at getting an associate's degree through this program. So it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of research, but whatever your personal goals are, I think we are here as resources to try to help you reach those. If you have questions. But basically, students are going to get as much out of this program and really as much out of high school as what they put into it, especially around researching potential careers and how to, make this program work for getting where you want to go. So I know students who know they want to do a business degree, for example. They'll go to colleges they're interested in, look at the business degree. Online, you can find all of the courses you have to take at that institution to get the business degree. So start looking at, what of those courses could I knock out while in high school through this program? You can be very strategic about how you're going about picking your courses while in high school. Do you have anything more you want to say on that, Justin? Okay. Keep in mind the deadline for these intention forms and participating in this mandatory meeting is April 1st, and if we don't get the intention and the statement of responsibility by then, students cannot participate in College Credit Plus program next year. Do we have any questions? Justin, do you have anything more? Any questions about Clark State? We really appreciate their partnership. I'm not trying to sway students towards them, but we do have a really nice relationship. They're here in our county at the Ohio High Point location. They're one of our primary CCP in-school partners. Really enjoy working with them. So anytime students need direction to go to, I tend to point to Clark State. They've got a lot of online classes that I think work really well. But students can look at any college, not just Clark State. That's the point I want to make. You can look at Rhodes State. We have a few students going there. And we've had some at Edison in the past. I've had an OSU Lima, but their program's a little bit different. It's a little more selective in getting in, and I don't know that there's a lot of courses students can take. Any questions? Okay, well, I appreciate you being here, and we will be around if you have questions you want to approach us individually on.